It's
Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So, we are gearing up for the new year, and I am very excited. And I hope all of you guys this year had a blessed year this year. And that's kind of what I wanted to do today is honestly just kind of talk about this past year, kind of where we're at and where we're going. So this shouldn't be a particularly long stream. I don't, I'm not known for doing long streams anyway. That's just not, not me. But I did want to at least spend some time just reflecting on everything that has happened this year because it's been a crazy year, and I feel very blessed. And I just look back at this year and think like, my God, I have just done so much. Actually, I was writing out a list of everything that I've done and everything that I've accomplished this year, and it's kind of incredible. Not without, I'm not going to say that there haven't been moments of hardship or failure. That has definitely been a part of it, but I also do, look back and I'm happy. I'm happy with kind of where we ended up and everything that I've been able to accomplish this past year. It's just been great. Um So what I'm gonna do is just kind of share some of those wins, some of the losses too, because just as we have had some wins, we've also had some losses, and that's been difficult. So we will cover both of them. So for starters, the biggest news of this year is that I am going to be a dad to my third child. So my wife and I have two beautiful little girls already, and we consider ourselves extraordinarily blessed. I mean, out of this world, crazy blessed to have the two daughters that we have, and they are incredible. I mean, just nothing short of incredible, my daughters, and I love them dearly. Now my, oldest, she is a lot like me in a lot of different ways. I mean, this kid is something else. She's inquisitive and smart and funny and beautiful and determined and brave. Some of the things that she says just leave me in awe. And I'm just incredibly proud to be her dad. My youngest, she's 2, so or about to be 3, but she's a handful, and she has taught me patience, and she is growing me as a human being, and my wife as a human being. So, yeah, but I love her to pieces too. I love both of them. They're incredible, and we're still waiting to see how my youngest is going to turn out. I do think, I describe my daughter as mostly fiery, but sometimes peaceful. That is her personality type, and I do think there are some kids like they give you a run for your money, man. They completely flip your standards on on what your expectations were and prepare you for the unexpected. Hey KMD, having a conversation with Google AI arguing atheists on belief in God. So far, I've gotten the AI to admit that some arguments for God are valid, at least plausible. That's good, man. I do tend to think that unfortunately AI kind of has this confirmation bias, especially if it knows your belief system already. So just be wary of that. Um, but anyway, I'm excited to be a dad. I could continue to be a dad and to be a dad of a boy. All right, I've been outnumbered. 3 girls, 1 guy. Now we're kind of starting to level the playing field. So I'm pretty excited about that. I look forward to having another child and having a little boy running around this house. And my family is excited. My wife is excited. My daughter's excited. We're all very excited. So this is going to be what comes next year. So my wife is expected to be go to have our son mid-January. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's an exciting new chapter. It really is, and, I'm just very grateful, and that's one of those things too, it's like, I'm just so grateful to God for everything in my life, and that's something that will go a long way. If you have a heart posture toward gratitude, you can weather most storms in life. And when things aren't quite right, you can still find it within yourselves to be thankful for everything that you do have. So the first biggest thing that I'm looking forward to, or that happened this past year is that, we discovered my wife is pregnant. The second thing that I thought was pretty cool, that was really exciting, and maybe it's, this is me as a dad, this is, my fatherly perspective, but we my oldest daughter played soccer for the first time, and that was one of those things that was just really cool in a lot of different ways. I mean, seeing her get out there on the field and be determined and and grow in that sport was exciting. There was a moment while she was playing soccer that I'll never forget, man, because it just showed me the type of character that she has. So she's running the ball down the field, and she loses one of her shoes, but she keeps going. She keeps running the ball down the field, and she goes to make the goal. She doesn't get it, but she goes to make the goal with one shoe on, and then another kid steps on her foot, and I can hear her like cry out in pain. But instead of like falling down or instead of making a scene, she continues to make her way down the field, and I just thought, wow, look at this kid. I mean, look at this kid. She's she's continuing to run down the field even though she's in a world of pain. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, man, my child is just something else. So I thought that was cool. Number three, which I touch on this a bit, my youngest child challenged me to be a better father. All right. It's like you have these expectations when you have a kid. You have, especially if you have one that's like really well behaved, and then you have one that's not so well behaved, that, you understand that no child is exactly the same. And, this one size fits all approach doesn't work, and you have to adjust and change things. And, my daughter has challenged me to be more patient because she's tested my patience. Not going to lie, not going to front, but I do find myself, though, as hard and difficult as things were with her, to do it all over again, because children are just a blessing. I mean, just an absolute blessing. So, yeah, I think for this past year, that is one of the things that I'm also grateful for. My wife and I celebrated 11 years of marriage, which is, I mean, that alone is, I think, worth celebrating. 11 years of marriage. I've been married 11 years. And we've been together longer, almost 15 years, over 15 years now. So, God is good. He has blessed our marriage, and it's something that has taken a lot of work, a lot of dedication and tenacity and selflessness, and that's one of those things too, where when you get married, you are also challenged to become a better person, because now it's no longer just you're looking out for. You have to care for your wife, and you have to meet her needs, and you have to love her the way that she needs to be loved. And I gotta say, though, it's been great. 10 out of 10 recommend getting married. We were just texting yesterday because we still get really excited about seeing each other. Like, it doesn't get old. We love spending time together. We love being together. And now I'm working 2 jobs right now, so we're passing ships, but we really do love each other, and we really do value the time that we have together. And I think that's one of those things that's really important, is that when you're in a relationship, especially when you're married, that you always make time for each other, and that you don't get used to each other, and you just savor every moment. And that's something that my wife and I do well. And she's also, you've seen her on stream before. She's getting a little bit more involved in what I'm doing here, which I think is exciting. Another thing that happened this past year that I thought was cool is that I got into the Rumble creator program, and I've been hitting the metrics every month. I mean, struggling a little bit, but still hitting the metrics every single month. And want to know what? There has been tremendous growth, because I think at the start of the year we were at like 55 followers. I believe that's where we were. Because I didn't quite hit 100 to get into the creator program. Then once I hit the 100, then I applied the creator program, and now we are at 382, which I think that's significant, guys. That's significant. So a lot of growth here on Rumble. And not only did we have growth here on Rumble, but we also, you know, maintained 28,000 on TikTok, which I think that is good considering some of my content is not TikTok friendly. We also hit 960 subscribers on YouTube. Shout out to you, KMD, for being one of those subscribers. And, you know, I've gotten millions of views across platforms and over 100,000 alone on Rumble. So, you know, not that KPIs are that important, but it is cool to look back and see, like, this is one of those things where if you're looking at numbers daily, it's easy to get discouraged. But when you look at them over time, it's a lot more encouraging because you see exponential growth. Another big thing that happened this year was that I got to meet a bunch of the people on Rumble at DreamHack. So I actually got to meet these people in real life, which was awesome. And just that in itself was a blessing. So that was really cool. I also got to go on Jubilee, which that in itself was an experience. And that definitely grew me as a person. I will say, that was a highlight, but it was also, you know, on my negative reel because, you know, as much as I enjoyed being on that debate, I did not do well in the debate. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Another cool thing that I did this year is that I wrote the pilot episode to a show that I hope is one day on, you know, the big screen or on streaming platforms. So that's really exciting. That was a dream of mine, is to write a pilot episode for this TV show. And I have the entire series mapped out in my mind. So now I got to get that all on paper. And I even got a chance to pitch it to a producer. So that's exciting. That's very exciting. So another thing that happened was I wrote 16 chapters to a book I'm writing. So I call that a win. 16 chapters. Hey, better than nothing. I started getting my children's book, which is completed. I finished it. I wrote it, but now it's getting illustrated. So that should be done soon. So that's exciting. Big wins politically. Trump took office. You know, I think that's good. Conservatives won the 2024 election. I think that's great. And transgenders and wokeness lost bigly. Big time. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that the tides are turning on transgenderism and wokeness in general. I think that is a good thing and is something that we should be celebrating and something that we should not lose sight of, even though people are saying, you know, that it shouldn't concern us. No, it absolutely should concern us. Like, we should continue to focus on this and give it the attention that it needs, because these people are not going to take a day off. Evil does not take a day off. And we have to be the light in this dark world. We have to show people what it means to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And we have to stand against evil. We do. That is our responsibility as Christians. So I am excited to see the tides turning there. But so those are kind of the big things that happened this year. Some of the highlights of this past year that I'm just very grateful for. And I look back at every year and I just thank God, you know. And I look at my life and you know, not everything is perfect, but dang, I look at my life and I think to myself, you are a blessed man. Like, I am a blessed man. I am in a beautiful house, in a safe neighborhood. I got a good paying job. I have a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful daughters, and a baby boy on the way. Like, what more could I want? I mean, really, seriously, what more could I want? I have a good life and I know it, and I don't take it for granted. I know, and I'm thankful and grateful to God for everything that I have, because only with Him is all this possible. Only with Him do I have breath in my lungs. Only with him can I accomplish anything. And apart from him, I can do nothing. At least nothing that matters. So I just find myself grateful. This life is beautiful, and God is beautiful, and he has been so good to me. I mean, just so freaking good to me. So I'm grateful. I'm just grateful for this life that I get to live, and for his hand upon my life, and for every good thing that I have. And I have a lot of good things in my life. So I don't take those things for granted. Not for a single second. So yeah. All right. So, but with all the good things that happen, there are some bad things. I want to take a time to kind of talk about some of them, because I do think, we set goals, and my goal too, by the way, is the same thing every year. I have the same vision every single year, and my vision is very simple. Okay, my vision is to be in the center of God's will. That's all I want. What do you want me to do, Lord? Here I am. Send me. Let me do your will. Let me do what you want me to do. And, first and foremost, obviously, God's will for all of us, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, is to obey his commandments, is to follow Jesus and keep his commandments. That is the will of God. That is the duty of man. That is our job. So I know that no matter what, even if there are seasons where I don't know if I should go to the left or go to the right. I know that, okay, well, even though, it's unclear if I should take this job, or I should move here, or I should talk to this person, or if I should end this relationship, what I do know is that I should always do the right thing according to God's standard of righteousness. And that's what I do. And when you do that, you will have this peace that is unshakable. And that is what I have. I have this profound peace. When the whole world is falling apart, I feel grounded. Because I know that the God of the universe holds my life, holds this whole world in the palm of his hand. Okay, so the downer, the negatives of this year is that I fumbled my Jubilee debate. And it was a huge letdown, all right? Some people will say, and I think they're just being nice that, I did all right. I did fine. But, you're your own worst critic. And there's just so many things I could have said. And I debated this kid named Oliver, very, for a leftist, very smart, very brilliant guy. I'm not going to front. Oliver was a seasoned debater. I'm not. All right. And just full transparency. I don't do, I do online debates that, typing, where I have time to think and respond. On the fly, though, much more difficult. And then when you're in this room, you have all these eyes on you, and you have 7 minutes to unpack an idea. That's a challenge, actually. That is a real challenge. So I definitely learned from that debate. I think it taught me to be a little bit more aggressive. I tend to be, at least in those forums, I have to be more aggressive. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I kind of treated the debate like a conversation. I shouldn't have. I should have treated it like a debate. So I learned my lessons from that, took notes. I even reached out to Andrew Wilson. He gave me some feedback. Genuinely good man. I know a lot of people do not like Andrew Wilson. I think he is a good man. Genuinely, he did not have to take the time to respond to me and give me feedback on my debate. He did, though, because he's actually a good guy, despite what many people may think. So that was a downer. Another downer was, last September, well, not this September, the September before, I lost my Twitter account, and I'm still upset about it. All right. It's been a little over a year now, and I did not get my account restored. And that was a huge setback that I'm still feeling the effects of. Okay. And I didn't quite get back to where I wanted to be. I'm a third of the way there. But a huge setback when you're rapidly building momentum. You're monetized. You're doing everything right, and then suddenly your account gets nuked. That happened to me, and I know how to rebuild it. I can rebuild it. It's just I don't want to play the game, man. I don't want to play this stupid game where I'm replying nonstop all throughout the day, and fixating on posts. It's a lot of work. It actually is a lot of work, and now you're competing with bots, and I don't want to play the game. So it's like I rather just organically send my thoughts into the ether. If I grow, I grow. If I don't, whatever. It is what it is. So losing my Twitter account was upsetting. It just was. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 3, I did not finish my children's book. So I had mentioned the win was I wrote 16 chapters. But the loss is that I did not finish it. I wanted to finish it by the end of the year. Unless I'm writing, 30 chapters tonight. It's just not going to happen. But I do have the map of it in my mind. So I actually know what to write. So it's just doing it, making the time to do it. And unfortunately, right now, I'm in a season where I don't have a lot of time. I don't. So, yeah, that sucked. But, that's my own fault. I just got to be more disciplined. And that's a takeaway, is that you have to be disciplined. If you want to accomplish something, you have to make time for it. So it's like, now it's me. I got to make a lot of time. Maybe I got to scale back on Arc Raiders, although I've been having a lot of fun on it. But scale back, a couple hours a week to spend dedicated time writing. So, I'll own it. I'll take responsibility. And I think that's part of growth, is taking responsibility for your shortcomings and identifying what you can do to change. So I had mentioned earlier too, one of my wins was that I pitched my pilot show to a producer. The con is that I have nothing happened. Nothing came of it, so that's also discouraging, because you're really excited about this idea, and I really do believe my idea is good. I believe it in my heart of hearts. I have something good, so you put it out there and you hope that it's received well, and it seemed received well, but ultimately nothing came of it. So now it's like I got to find other avenues to try to pitch this thing. And I will find other avenues to pitch this thing. God will make a way. I know he will. So I just got to keep at it. So that was a bummer. Financially, we are not yet in the spot that we want to be. We just kind of had setback after setback, and it's made things really challenging. In that we've also had blessings. But you want to know what? I really want to create a situation where where working is optional for my wife. And right now, that's why I'm picking up a second job. And, you got to do what you got to do. That is my responsibility as a man, is to be a provider for my family. And if I have to work 60 hours a week, I got to work 60 hours a week. If I have to work 80 hours a week, I'll work 80 hours a week. I will do whatever it takes to provide for my family and to give my wife the life that I believe she deserves. So still got a lot of work to do there. And the most disappointing thing that has happened this year by far, and most upsetting thing, and something that I still feel the emotional weight of, is the death of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, it's sad. It really actually genuinely grieves my spirit, because he was a good man. And seeing what has happened after he's died has also been something that has been upsetting. seeing the right wing movement fracture, seeing Candace Owens lead the charge in, these wild conspiracies around Charlie Kirk has been it's discouraging. It has. I thought that this was going to be a moment where the right wing was going to unite and we were going to, come together to fight a common enemy. But instead, it's been the opposite of that. And I don't know if if unity is even possible at this point. Unless, the only way is if we are united in Christ. And honestly, apart from Christ, there really can't be unity. So like Christians, we need to come together and seek unity with everything that we have. Because this world is spinning out of control. Every day we are bombarded with more bad news. Every day there are people who are lost and without hope. Every day there are people who are far from God that don't know him. We, as Christians, need to come together and be an answer to Jesus's prayer, to be one with him as he is one with the Father. And through that, the world will come to believe. This is my prayer. This is my heart. I want the world to come to believe. And this means having a love that is unlike anything this world has ever seen. And working through some of the denominational differences and focusing on prayer, spending time diligently reading the word, and not forsaking the assembling of the body. We have a duty as Christians, as believers, to come together, because we're not going to find the solution in politicians. We're not. Or cultural heroes or influencers. The answer can only ever be in Jesus Christ. And I think that is something that we need to be mindful of. So, the death of Charlie Kirk was hard. Probably the hardest thing that I had to deal with this year. And I don't know, it's a strange thing because I didn't know him, And I'm not even going to say like I was a huge fan of Charlie Kirk. I liked him. I appreciated him. I paid attention to him. I followed him. But I wasn't listening to his show every day. But his death, man, it did something. It was one of these moments, I think, in time that marked significant change in the culture. And I don't quite know what it means. Not yet. And I don't know if we ever will know. But what I do know is that Charlie Kirk was wholly sold out to Jesus, and his chief aim in life was to proclaim the gospel. And his final work was a book on the Sabbath, which I highly recommend picking up. And I think that is one of the ways out of this hellscape, is that we take the time that we need to rest in the Lord and carve out Saturday, Sabbath, sunset to sundown to sunset, or sundown to sundown. I think, we need to carve out that time to follow God and press in. Okay. So all that was depressing, but what do we do with that? Do we wallow and feel sorry for ourselves? No. We pick ourselves up we dust ourselves off, we tend to our wounds, and we move forward. No looking back. No looking back. We look forward. We set our eyes on what we cannot see, and we press forward in pursuit of Jesus, in pursuit of the call that he has on our life. And we do not stop, because this world is going to throw a lot at us. It's going to try to knock us off course. It's going to try to rob us from stepping into our God-given purpose. But we cannot, for a second, let the enemy distract us. Because God has a plan for our lives. He has a plan for your life. And when you focus too much on everything that went wrong, you miss everything that went right, and you miss God's hand directing your life. So we will look ahead. And as I look ahead, I eagerly anticipate the birth of my son. Come the end of January, I'm going to have a baby boy. And I'm going to be a dad to a boy, which is going to be a new dynamic in our house. And I get to raise him to be a man after God's own heart. And I have to model what it means to be a man. To be masculine. To stand up for what is right. To fight for what is good and beautiful in this world. And to keep his faith no matter the cost in a world that is desperately trying to claw it away. I got a serious duty, not with all my children, is to raise them up in the way of the Lord and be confident that God will not let them depart from it. So I'm looking ahead to the birth of my son. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about kids is they represent a new beginning. And they give us something worth fighting for. Yeah, yesterday I commented on clavicular and how basically, he was unbothered by transgenderism, didn't think that was like an issue. But it's like people like that don't have a stake in the world. And kids having children, well, having children gives you a stake in this world. Because you're not fighting just for your own sake. You're fighting to create a better world for your kids. And we have a responsibility, a duty, to make this world better for our kids. And by God, with every breath left in my body, I aim to make this world a better place for my daughters and for my son. Our children deserve a better future. And we have a responsibility to give it to them. But we can't do it alone. We need each other, and we need the God of the universe to go before us. Another thing that I plan to do this year is finish my novel. If not for anything, for my daughter, because she loves this story. And I want to write it for her. So I plan to finish the story that I'm writing for her by the end of next year, but I'll set a hard goal by summer. I'm gonna have a lot of downtime when my son is born. I'm gonna spend time writing. I also plan to pitch my movie or my television show idea to more producers and write more of that script. So I'm not going to give up there. I'm going to try to get my show in front of as many producers as possible. It has a copyright too, so I feel very good pitching it now. I also plan to launch a new show here on Rumble. Probably 2 new shows, but one specifically with my wife. And then she will also have her own show. So I want to have a hand in producing that and setting her up for success. So that is something that we will do. Hers will be it'll be very Bible focused. So that'll be cool. So that's the plans for next year, finishing out the studio, setting it up so it's a little bit more palatable right now. Good Lord. You guys do not want to see this room. It's real nice right here, real crazy out there. So I got a lot of work to do, man. I want to also produce more videos on demand. Those do really well on YouTube. So I want to do more of them and get better at editing and storytelling. So my goal is to do a minimum of 12 high quality videos on demand. Probably most of these will be movie reviews, but I do want to do some where it's commentary on a specific topic. What I want to do is I want to create videos that stand the test of time. All right. When you're commenting on news, it doesn't hold up. All right. You watch it once, and then I don't watch old podcasts over again. Unless they are making a really profound point, I don't go back and watch old podcasts. But what I want to do is I want to produce, videos that have rewatchability, that they aren't tied to the latest news story. Hey, Rez, what's going on, man? Just casting vision for the new year, brother. And I got a lot planned, and I just find myself super grateful to be alive and super grateful for this life that God has given me, and excited for everything that is going to happen next year. So I'm going to be launching a new show. I'm going to be trying to write my book, finish my novel. I'm going to pitch my script. I wrote a television script for a show. I'm going to pitch that to more producers. I got plans, man. I also want to develop this live show. I would like it to be more scripted, because I believe I do better when I have a plan in place, and it comes off better too when I actually write it out in advance. Now, not to say that this means I won't field questions or anything like that, but maybe having like targeted times where it's like, all right, now I'm gonna follow up a chat. Just getting ready for campfire talks. Just want to stop and wish you and your family a happy new year. Happy new year, brother. Truly, from my family to yours, man. Happy new year. Glad I got to know you just a little bit this year, man. You're an awesome dude, and definitely grateful for you, man. I hope that you have a very blessed year. Yeah, that's why I'm also doing my stream early, because I'm going to spend some time with my daughter. She liked, last year for the first time we let her stay up till midnight. So now we're going to do it every year. She's 7, so she's super excited about that. So yeah, I want to develop my live show, so I'll be doing that. And I want to, become a better husband, a better father, a better believer. And I want financial freedom too. And that's something too that's like, a lot of people want these yeah, we do need to get on ARC, man. One of these things that we often try to do, or we want like an easy way out, like, oh, just give me, $50,000 and that'll be great, and I'll be financial free. But sometimes like money's not going to fall in your lap, so you have to make that happen. You have to put in the work. You have to free yourself from debt like a gazelle. That's what the Bible says. So that's my goal, is to have some level of financial freedom, so my wife doesn't have to work. That's my goal, and by God, I'm going to do it. So that's just kind of my plans going forward. And as always, the most important thing to me is to keep God at the center of my life. That is my vision for 2026. It's my vision every year, is to be at the center of God's will. What do you want, Lord? I will do it. I want to do what you have called me to do. I want to be the man that you have called me to be. So tell me where to go, tell me what to do, and I will do it. I will go where you tell me to go. That is my plan for this year. And we will see. we will see what God does, but I'm going to go in with an expectation that he's going to show up and that he's going to meet me where I'm at, and that I'm going to grow in faith, and I want to grow too with other believers. I want to actually make disciples and invest in people. And right now I have a really good group of guys that I'm doing Bible study with that has just been rich. And yeah, I want to enjoy everything that God has for me. So I'm looking forward to 2026, and above all, too, I want to express gratitude to the people that have tuned into my show. We don't have a big audience here, but the few of you that do stop by, it does mean a lot. Truly, it means something to me. And I'm not just saying that. I am genuinely grateful for the support that I've received. I'm genuinely grateful for you, Rez, and KMD, and Midnight in the Mountains, and all these people that I've gotten to know in this space. I'm grateful, and I look back and I see kind of what God has done just in this year alone, and I'm in awe, man. I'm in awe. God has been very good to me, and I want to keep exalting his name, and I want to use my platform as a means to advance the gospel to the uttermost bounds of the earth. That is my chief goal in everything, is to advance the gospel. I want to do that through media, movies, television, streaming. That's all I want in life, really. That is my chief aim in life. So let's do it, man. So I look forward to 2026. I thank you guys for your support, and I hope that you guys have a very blessed new year. And I want you to know too that if you ever need prayer for anything, I will pray for you. If you ever need somebody to talk to and need a friend, I will be a friend to you. I mean that. I want to be somebody that is genuinely invested in the people that God brings to me. And I don't take this, I guess, opportunity lightly. I don't take this tiny bit of sphere of influence God has given me lightly. I understand that it's significant, and I understand that there is no such thing as coincidence, and that God has a plan for not just me, but for you. And I pray you walk in the fullness of it. All right. I think that is going to do it for me today. I hit my 30-hour stream for the month. Kind of close, but we hit it. And I think what better way than to end my final hour in the creator program for the month than to bring in the new year. So anyway, I hope you guys have a very blessed night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Have a happy new year, and I will see you next year. God bless. Deuces.
Hate this cut.